t.A.T.u was arguably one of the most iconic aspects of 2000s music, from controversial music videos to songs hailed as anthems by the LGBTQ+ community. However, behind the producers' near-genius marketing techniques that pulled the strings of the Russian duo, much darker aspects were at play. Before t.A.T.u was even formed in 1991, there was another group, Exploitation. I'm going to butcher all of these Russian names, by the way. This was a children's music group with members including Yulia Volkova and Lena Katrina, the latter also being part of a band called Avenue. However, in 1999, a man by the name Ivan Shapovalov developed plans alongside Alexandra Voitinsky to create a musical project revolving around a teenage girl. After hundreds of auditions, Lena was cast. Ivan later insisted a second girl needed to be added to the group, thus Yulia became the other half. Ivan had been further inspired by the male fascination of teen schoolgirls in relationships and believed the sensational concept would drive publicity in itself. The name of the duo would become t.A.T.u, a shortened version of the Russian phrase, "this girl loves that girl." This in itself raises several issues which will be gone into later. Nevertheless, the debut album, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, I'll just put it on screen, was released in 2001 after being recorded between 1999 and 2000 and reached #1 on the Polish charts, the first Russian act to ever do so. The album also reached #1 in the Czech and Slovak charts. It sold 500,000 copies in the first 2 months. In 2002, 200 kilometers per hour in the Wrong Lane, their second and first English language album, was released, reaching #1 in even more countries, including Austria, Japan and Hungary, and the top 20 in the US, UK, Germany, France and Australia. The duo had single-handedly popularized Russian-made music unlike any group had managed to before. What really cemented the group's controversial hook was the music video for the lead single "Я шла so Uma," I Have Lost My Mind, and all the things she said as it was named in the second English album. The video has been both praised for promoting a pro-equality message by depicting a lesbian couple metaphorically freeing themselves from the cage of societal stigma, but also received heavy criticism for showing 2 young girls making out in school uniforms. So let's go back to those issues regarding the group's original conception. The girls were cast when they were 14 and 15 years old, being children when enrolled into a project intended to have a target audience of older men. The question of exploitation by the public has since been dismissed by t.A.T.u members, but it's also worth noting the age and power imbalance between the producers and the girls. It was reported that while working with Ivan, the girls were controlled by him, noting that he was strict. It's also been reported that they were also told what to say and do during interviews. In 2001, when Yulia was 16 and Lena was 17, t.A.T.u went on tour and their routines were described as precise, featuring parts where the girls had to strip. It's hard to deny that t.A.T.u was based on the objectification of these girls. Secondly, the group was created to objectify lesbian relationships, furthering the narrative that the girl-girl relationship type only has value or validity if they fulfill the needs of a third party, aka straight men. But their first 2 albums, the Russian one and the English language one, was just the start of the legacy of t.A.T.u. Yulia and Lena would appear on late-night shows such as Jimmy Kimmel and even represented Russia in the 2003 Eurovision Song Contest. But that same year would end in further controversy that shook the very foundation of the group. Airing on Russian TV December 2003, a documentary was released revealing that the girls were not lesbians at all. Early 2014, the pair broke their contract with Ivan. Yulia stated, "He spends more time thinking up scandals instead of planning our artistic work," with Lena adding, "He made us out to be lesbians when we were just singing for lesbians." Yulia's pregnancy in 2004 furthered the news that the lesbian representation had been fabricated, and the girls both received backlash for this. t.A.T.u would go on to release 4 more albums, totaling a discography of 6. But in 2011, they would eventually disband due to conflicts between Lena and Yulia, and both wanting to pursue solo careers. It appeared Yulia had been a massive problem, making disparaging comments about Lena's solo career that started the previous year. She would also gain further criticism when she stated she would not accept a gay son, despite being part of t.A.T.u, which capitalized off an LGBTQ+ audience and being bisexual herself. Her former t.A.T.u member Lena spoke out against her also in this. Regardless of infighting and some more than just dodgy sentiments stated by one of the members, t.A.T.u did manage to do some good, attending and performing at gay prides, which Lena has continuously done in her solo career as well, and making outright anti-war sentiments on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. But it is still a story drenched in sadness, for these girls weren't people, and not just symbols of lesbian representation, but symbols of a fetishized version of lesbians curated for straight men to view at their own leisure. The sadness is that these girls were only 14 and 15 when they were put in provocative videos and made to perform precarious routines on stage for millions to see. And while t.A.T.u itself as a symbol did great things for the LGBT community, it's evident that Russia has not taken this message to heart, considering the devaluation of gay people and LGBT people as a whole within Russia in the more recent years. They worked both as a marketing tool and also a scapegoat. When it was revealed the girls weren't actually lesbians, it was them who received the flack and not the people who put them up to it at a young age. I still listen to t.A.T.u's music and enjoy them a lot, and remember the time when I was coming out as a bisexual as a young teen myself and how valuable that was to me. And I also really admire pretty much mostly Lena for her continued activism. But I think that we have to remind ourselves that they're yet another example of young girls being exploited by media corporations who don't care about them as people, just see them as a way to gain a lot of money and recognition through the controversy that they procured for them. I think that while we can all recognize the iconic image that t.A.T.u was and the iconic music that they produced is, we have to also remember that behind the icon was exploitation of young teenage girls.